Welcome to Under the Canopy, where we delve deep into the multifaceted world of event management. I'm Minh Thi, and today's episode is Insights into Outdoor Event Challenges, focusing on the contemporary challenges within outdoor events, followed by a reflective exploration tied to my previous workshop on addressing the management of sex and violence in music festivals. According to the World Bank, air pollution is responsible for about 9 million premature deaths, with the bulk of fatalities attributed to this kind of pollution. There are many causes leading to environmental pollution, and events are one of those factors. Let us begin with conferences, which serve as meeting places for people to exchange ideas. Did you realize that these occurrences generate tremendous amounts of pollution? According to a 2019 study, a 3-day 800-person conference had a carbon impact of 455 tons of carbon dioxide. The issue here is why it emits so much pollution, and such emission essential, and how can the issue be mitigated? Conferences are greatly impacted by travel, energy use, and other activities which all contribute to their carbon footprint. Travel, particularly long-distance travel, contribute to emission. Large meeting spaces use more energy, including electricity, heating, or cooling. Furthermore, supporting activities such as hotel, food, and promotional materials emit greenhouse gases. The sum of these factors contribute to the considerable carbon footprint associated with conference hosting. But who is responsible for this carbon footprint? Organizers are primarily in charge of planning conferences, which include selecting location, developing agendas, and handling logistics. To reduce the environmental effect, they might choose eco-friendly sites, promote virtual participation, and urge participants to practice sustainable behaviors. Participants share responsibility, particularly for their travel choices and behavior at the conference, such as carpooling or using public transportation, and practicing resource conservation while at the event, which might collectively lower the total carbon footprint. Furthermore, via energy use, trust management, and procurement methods, venue providers and service suppliers have a considerable effect on the environmental impact of events. Collaboration among the stakeholders is critical for instilling a culture of sustainability in the conference sector and reducing environmental repercussions. Moving on to music festivals, where there is a lot of energy, enthusiasm, and garbage. These gatherings produce massive quantities of garbage, ranging from food containers to disposable things. In 2020, it was claimed that music events alone in the UK created 23,500 tons of garbage over the year. So, what are the ramifications of this? Why do festivals generate so much trash? Their aftermath have an effect on ecosystem, puts a pressure on waste management system, and increase greenhouse gas emissions. Due to large attendance, ease, and fast-paced consumptions, festivals create enormous garbage. Disposable products are often utilized, and a lack of waste management infrastructure and environmentally acceptable behavior contribute to the problem. How might this environmental pollution be minimized if similar events or other events continue to be organized in the future? Strong measures are required to reduce waste. Reusable servingware, garbage sorting stations, and the use of renewable energy sources such as solar power are all effective steps toward sustainability. Furthermore, using biodegradable materials and reducing single-use plastic have a major long-term environmental effect. Encouraging guests to use eco-friendly transport to reduce carbon emission even more. To put it simply, it is a collaborative effort including event planners, participants, and new techniques to guide events towards sustainability. We can reduce environmental effect and set the road for greener, more responsible events by implementing eco-friendly approaches. Now, let's move on to the second problem. While our podcast is about contemporary issues of outdoor events, weather is one of the most difficult issues. Imagine the excitement leading up to an outdoor music festival or a dreamy beach wedding. Unexpectedly, a threatening storm appears on the horizon, threatening rain or fierce winds, and is not planned. Certainly, your initial reaction is not to believe it and hope it will not be true, right? But reality will give you a slap in the face. The things in the forecast suddenly come to you. So, how do you think you would feel? Unforeseen incidents sometimes take event managers off guard. A festival organizer is concerned with performer safety, equipment protection, and the well-being of guests. A couple's magical anticipation of a beach wedding gives way to concern about damp apparel, probable venue damage, and the chance of the ceremony being swept away by bad weather. In situations like this, we need a contingency plan which consists of preset procedures for dealing with unanticipated disruption. These preparations serve as a safety net, describing ways to manage hazards that might jeopardize the success of the event. They cover a variety of eventualities such as bad weather, technological breakdowns, and crises. In situations like this, we need a contingency plan which consists of preset procedures for dealing with unanticipated disruption. These preparations serve as a safety net, describing ways to manage hazards that might jeopardize the success of the event. They cover a variety of eventualities such as bad weather, technological breakdowns, and crises. The Sydney to Hobart yacht race in 1998 is a good example. The race was held amid a violent storm that killed 6 people. In 2011, an ultra-marathon in Western Australia was held on a day when significant fire risk was projected, and many racers were trapped and critically wounded in the ensuing inferno. These disasters are the fault of event organizers, local government, and participants. Event organizers may have failed to identify and react to dangers, while local government may have given insufficient caution or mandate to postpone or cancel events. Participants may also carry some responsibility for participating despite recognized hazard. What would your backup plan be if you could go back in time and repair it? In retrospect, traveling back in time to avert these tragedies would need a complete solution. A redesigned backup plan would incorporate comprehensive risk assessment with established thresholds for poor weather or fire threat. This proposal would emphasize participant safety by implementing required safety training, open lines of communication between planners and authorities, and contingency plans describing the specific measures to be performed in the event of an emergency. Furthermore, a complete emergency response strategy customized to individual hazard is required. Coordination with local emergency services and the construction of evacuation routes or safe zone in the case of unanticipated risk should be included. It will also need an explicit decision-making process focused on the safety and well-being of participants, even if it means delaying or canceling the activities to prevent potentially fatal situations. In the realm of event planning, the sudden presence of bad weather or unanticipated events may quickly turn excitement into threat. A well-constructed contingency plan may help event managers navigate unexpected problems while emphasizing safety and guaranteeing event success. Coming to the third issue, we will talk about accessibility in events. Is everyone wondering what accessibility is and why is it so important? Why is an event that lacks accessibility considered unsuccessful? And today we will find out what this is and why it is so important. The notion of accessibility ensures that all persons, regardless of ability, may participate in activities, services, or events. It encourages inclusion by providing equitable access to school, jobs, public areas, and cultural activities. This inclusion is more than simply a legal duty. It is a moral imperative, creating diversity and improving the event experience for all participants. An event that is inaccessible is regarded as unsuccessful because it includes people with disabilities, restricting their participation and detracting from the event's variety and depth. It might lead to an unfavorable public impression, legal implications, missing opportunities, and a degraded overall experience for attendance. Consider a bustling music festival that is buzzing with excitement. The planners have methodically prepared every aspect, yet as the event progresses, hurdles to participation for those with impairment arise. Consider the following scenarios: no ramps for mobility challenged guests, insufficient accessible information for the visually impaired, and sensory overload for individuals with sensitivities. These constraints reduce the festival's effect and exclude a sizable audience, departing from the genuine core of inclusion. In this case, the organizing committee must move quickly. Immediate solutions such as temporary ramps, more visible signs, and designated quiet zones are critical. Communication with attendees becomes important. It is critical to publicly acknowledge the problems and commit to resolving them. Physical communication, sensory, and facility accessibility should all be considered when developing a complete accessibility strategies for future events. These strategies include consulting with accessibility specialists, educating workers on disability awareness, and ensuring that all event-related material is provided in accessible forms. Lewis Capaldi's 2019 UK tour is an excellent example of how an accessible event promotes a more inclusive and inviting atmosphere for guests. He and his colleagues have created a relaxation room for those with anxiety and neurological illnesses to feel at ease in the packed event venue, and there is extra personnel on hand to assist if people feel worried or have other challenges. He has also set up an email address where fans may contact certified support workers to discuss their worries before one of his performances and arrange to be escorted to the venue if they so choose. Accessibility at events is about encouraging inclusion and equitable participation for all persons, not merely compliance with rules. Exclusion, poor impression, and lost opportunities may result from failing to meet accessibility requirements. Proactive measures such as relaxation rooms and assistance for participants suffering from anxiety or neurological illness may convert an event into a more welcoming environment. The responsibility of the organizing committee in addressing and strengthening accessibility measures is critical for establishing an atmosphere that embraces diversity and ensure that all guests have an engaging experience. The last issue I would like to share is reflecting on my previous workshop. I delivered a session on addressing the management of sexuality and violence at music festivals the last time. The seminar was a success, but there are still some things I need to work on in the future. By the way, in the postcard on today's difficulties, I will reflect on my seminar to evaluate what I did and what shortcomings I need to address in the future. Because we are all human, we will make errors. It is critical that we understand how to look back and identify our flaws so that we may correct them in the future and become more perfect. Let us begin by digging into the workshop real experience. During my session on addressing the management of sex and violence in music festivals, I had a nice connection with the audience. The audience values the topics important and found my talk interesting. My appearance and demeanor were warmly appreciated, adding to a cheerful mood. However, there were some disadvantages. I found myself constantly reading from notes, which disrupted the flow and waste time due to the back and forth. Furthermore, the lack of a remote control influenced my body language and presenting manner. While reflecting on the workshop, I realized that the audience loved the subject and appreciated the lucidity of my delivery. However, depending primarily on notes hampered the fluidity of my presentation and caused time management concerns. The absence of a remote control influenced my body language, limiting my capacity to interact with the audience more dynamically. While the topic was well received, this flaw diminished the workshop overall effect. Moving on to abstract conceptualization, I see that leaning too much on note diminished the workshop efficacy. It slowed the flow of information and exacerbated time management concerns. Furthermore, the lack of a remote control hindered my ability to successfully engage the audience via body language and movement. I plan to reduce my reliance on note for active experimentation for future progress. This might imply more comprehensive preparation and practice to improve my knowledge of the topic. Furthermore, purchasing a remote control or investigating other technical options might provide me more flexibility in connecting with the audience while speaking. In addition, I want to improve time management by producing a more organized presentation plan to avoid going over the given time. In reflection, the workshop access were its intriguing subject and the good participation of the audience. However, its usefulness was hampered by difficulties of note dependence and time management. To improve future workshops, I'm focused on less dependence on notes, using technology and improving time management for a more powerful experience. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of Under the Canopy. We have looked at the numerous issues that outdoor events confront, such as environmental sustainability, weather-related contingencies, and the critical requirement for accessibility. We have discovered that these difficulties need a collaborative effort combining event planners, participants, and new techniques to guide events towards sustainability and inclusion. Reflecting on the workshop on the management of sex and violence at music festival, it is clear that even successful seminars may be improved. Recognizing my flaws and striving for improvement is the foundation of growth. As we traverse the complex world of event management, keep in mind that awareness, preparation, and proactive tactics are critical in creating effective and meaningful events. Our dedication to tackling these issues not only improves the event experience but also helps to construct a more inclusive and sustainable future for everyone participating. Thank you for watching Under the Canopy. Stay interested, stay involved, and join us next time as we delve further into the world of event management. Until then, I'm Minh Thi, signing off.